Hey everybody, it's Katie again. This is not a project for UMGC. This is actually something personal about myself. I'd like to about my addiction. So I started using pot and around the age of 14, 15, and I was also introduced to pills around the same time. I left my mother around the age of 14 due to neglect, and she just couldn't play dress up with me anymore, so she couldn't tolerate my behavioral problems, or turning into a teenager problems. So I moved in with my sister's dad, and he did the best he could, but nobody ever got me help for my behavioral problems. So they escalated into drug use. And at one point in my life, I was taking 300 milligrams of oxycodone and anywhere from 2 milligrams of Xanax to 15 milligrams of Xanax in a day. I just hear a lot of stigma around addicts that use MAT. That's medically assisted treatment. I'm on methadone right now. I started 6 years ago. The highest dose I was on was 85. I maintained that dose for a year before I started detoxing. A little over a year because I had gotten pregnant 6 months after I started the clinic, so I wasn't able to detox anymore, and I actually had to go back up. I got kicked out of that clinic and I transferred to another clinic, and since then, things have completely changed for me. I am one term away from achieving an associate's degree. I don't really have shit to show for my recovery monetarily wise, but I do have much better things. I have better bonds with my family. My grandma trusts me with their house key. I'm allowed to be alone out on my property, on my grandma's property again. The house before didn't have a lock on it at all, since the 80s probably, and the locks were changed to my grandmother's house because of them being nervous I was going to steal stuff. So gaining all that trust back from the family and having time to focus on myself and my recovery and school and to be able to be here for my kids, that's what led me into doing all of the things that I do. So I work online as a sex worker. I don't meet people in person. And I really don't even get naked. I just get online and chat with people. People that go for online sex workers, they usually don't want sex. They just want somebody to talk to. And I'm studying psychology, and I plan to be a therapist. And I like to provide a safe space for people to talk. I think it's critical for people to have a place that they can free talk, because that allows them to discuss things like suicide and thinking about hurting themselves and others. And I'm not a mandatory reporter, so I don't have to report those things yet. Hopefully I will never have to report those things and will be able to use my discretion. But my goals right now are to continue with my schooling. I'm going for a doctorate. It's going to take quite a long time, so I won't be out of school for a while. I also, with the stimulus checks from the government, I started crystal healing jewelry and crystal healing and aromatherapeutic jewelry shop. I sell online through my page called Handmade Hemp Co. on Facebook, and I also have a vending location down at the Appalachian Flea Market. If you're in the Cumberland region, you will be able to find it. So I come across the same thing a lot, that methadone and Suboxone are crutches or switching addictions, one for another, and that kind of bothers me because everybody has a vice, whether it be coffee, shopping, watching porn, watching anime. It could be literally anything. Combing your hair, picking your split ends. Everybody has something that they turn to when they're nervous. Chewing their nails, something to bring them calmness. Mine just happened to be drugs because I was never taught the proper coping skills to deal with that kind of stuff, or any of the kind of stuff I was dealing with. So yes, I totally agree that methadone is a crutch, but if it's used in the right, and Suboxone is a crutch, but if it's used in the right way, it can absolutely save lives. I've successfully detoxed from 85 milligrams down to 27 now, 1 milligram at a time. I also dove directly into mental health and addressed all of my past traumas and things that I never got help for whenever I was younger. And I've come a long way. I haven't really had any urges to use. Once in a while I get phantom smells and have dreams, but that's been 6 years now, so I haven't had many of those. Basically, addiction doesn't have a one-size-fits-all plan, so it doesn't matter to me how you recover, or even if you never get off Suboxone or methadone, as long as you're not on the streets using and dying. That's what's the most important part. Harm reduction is key. Personally, I think that all drugs should be decriminalized. Traffickers should still be faced with charges and jail times, but I think that all of the money that has been used on the war on drugs isn't working. It's making the problem worse. So if those funds could be reallocated into recovery centers and treatment resources and job resources for specifically addicts, that could really make an impact. We need to look at this in a positive way and drop the negative stigma about addicts, because many of us do recover, and those of us that are still suffering are scared to reach out and get help, possibly because of the stigma, the heavy stigma that's carried, and the amount of judgmental people that think that being in some kind of program is wrong, or being an addict in general is wrong. And it's much deeper than that. Drugs are not the problem. They're usually the answer to a problem. So for me personally, I was covering the love that I didn't get from my dad, from my mom, from my boyfriend, from anybody but my grandma, basically. I was trying to fill in that void, I guess, that I was missing. But now that I have been in mental health therapy for 6 years now, maybe even going on 6, I have a completely different perspective. So I advise everybody to educate themselves properly on addiction and the resources that are available for addicts. And if you want to message me either on my YouTube account or my Facebook account, I'll have it linked in my about me on YouTube. Get a hold of me and I'm happy to help. And I provide a safe space for people to talk openly about literally anything. I will talk to you about anything, even if it's not seen as the greatest thing. I don't judge people for shit, even though I've never used various drugs, used certain drugs. I wouldn't put them past me if I had the chance back in the day. Now I would never. I don't think I would ever have the urge to use one. So yeah, if anybody needs help, reach out